Welcome to Masterclass Level Design, a new series where I analyze specific levels in video games that stood out for one reason or several. The main goal of a level designer is to guide the player from one point to the next, all the while introducing elements that are important either to support a story that's being told or to conflate different ideas for a particular genre that's being utilized. Now, there are plenty of examples of fantastic level design, too many to name, but the plan is to just focus on a select few. Should that plan alter in any way, I will adjust accordingly. For this first part, I want to focus on a specific reboot coming from the World of Assassination trilogy from the Hitman series. The first game in the trilogy, Hitman, which contained 6 different levels, locations that spanned across the globe. The best part about this game was its self-contained tone, as each mission had its own interpersonal narrative and several ways for the player to complete the main objective, which is the assassination. That's also not to mention the game's emphasis with replayability, encouraging players to revisit levels they've already completed in order to switch up tactics and find more unique opportunities to kill their targets. Each game in this trilogy, in fact, was developed with this mentality. Despite having some of the best levels across the trilogy, I'm only going to focus on one level from this game. The first level, known as the Showstopper, which tasked Agent 47 to kill the CEO of a conglomerate fashion company as well as his intimate partner. As a power couple, both targets act as the head of an entity known as Iago, responsible for serious security leaks all over the world. One particular security leak is the identity of numerous undercover British agents within MI6 during a Sanguine show in Paris. The client, MI6, has tasked the organization that Agent 47 works for to prevent the knock list from leaking by whatever means necessary. This puts the two targets in the crosshairs of the world's most deadly assassin. As mentioned before, there are multiple ways to complete this mission, too many to list in one video. Therefore, I'll only discuss 2 methods. The first method requires the player to assume the identity of one of the guests of this fashion show, Helmut Kruger, whom Agent 47 shares a striking resemblance.
Speaking of, that guy looks a lot like Helmut Kruger.
Huh, yeah, uncanny.
To find Kruger, the player must infiltrate the building and make their way to the back outside. Kruger can be found on a smartphone. Simply choke him out, take his garb, and either toss his body over the balcony, which will kill him, or hide his body, sparing his life. The choice is yours. The important thing here is to pick up his phone. It's through a simple phone call that Agent 47 discovers that Kruger is to meet with one of the targets, Dalia Margolis.
Dalia, Helmut here. Remind me again, where were we supposed to meet?
2nd floor, Voltaire Suite, next to the auction.
Got it. You want me to drop by now, or...?
No, it's essential that you walk the runway. Do the job, and come see me right away.
However, Kruger was wearing face paint when he was attacked by Agent 47, because he's scheduled to be a participant in the fashion show. As a top model, he's expected to make an appearance, which now forces Agent 47 to instead take his place. To assume this role, you must re-enter the building backstage to get a makeover, so you can take Helmut's place in walking the stage. After you have your big moment, a memorable showcase,
No problem.
the player is tasked with meeting up with Dalia, who's located upstairs. While in Helmut's clothing and face paint, Agent 47 is automatically accepted by the guards, allowing him entry upstairs, assuming that he's Kruger. When you arrive to the room where Dalia is located, she bans the guards from the room, and while you can just go in for the kill right here, the character reveals something interesting if you wait and listen to what she has to say.
I have the perfect assignment for you. Jessica Highmore.
Highmore Consulting.
The very same. That's why I wanted you in the show.
Apparently, a woman by the name of Jessica Highmore, one of the guests, is a secret target for Dahlia, who wants Kruger to travel to New York in order to get close to her, and by extension, her father, John Highmore, the CEO of Highmore Consulting. The company is planning a merger, and Dahlia wants information on the deal. She then gives who she believes to be Helmut Kruger a bottle of cyanide, signaling that she wants John Highmore to be eliminated. It's clear that this isn't the first time these two characters have committed crimes of this nature before. At this point, there is no use in waiting any longer. The meeting is over, and you can forever silence Dahlia, fully free to hide her corpse within the room where she won't be discovered for the remainder of the level's runtime. Now on to the second target, Viktor Novikov. The second best opportunity at this point in the level, based on where the CPU controlling Viktor is in the level, is when the character takes the center stage to deliver a speech. There's nothing particularly interesting about the speech, but it does allow the player to set up a rather straightforward assassination by means of a bullet to the skull from above the stage. The player doesn't need a disguise to pull this off. And after the assassination, what happens next is truly remarkable for the level itself. By killing Viktor in public, even if it means blowing your cover, the numerous NPCs in the form of party guests will begin to panic, in one most hilarious fashion, and flee from the building in rampant numbers. This allows Agent 47 to become one with the crowd and exit the level from where the player began, at the entrance gate to the red carpet walkway. As mentioned previously, this is just one way of completing this objective. There is a second way that I found to be intriguing, although it requires further planning on the player's behalf, and nothing can be out of place, otherwise you will risk blowing your cover. The second method involves starting the mission as one of the technicians working above the fashion show stage on the second floor. By starting on the second floor, you immediately have a better vantage point and view of the area, as well as stronger access to the stage from the get-go. When you begin the mission, the first goal is to switch out Agent 47's disguise from the initial effects technician to one of the caterers attending to the food upstairs. From that point, Agent 47 will proceed downstairs to the kitchen to borrow some rat poison. The player will make their way back upstairs past several guards to a balcony on the second floor, all the while still in disguise. While outside on the balcony, there sits an opportunity to spike a drink with the poison acquired from the kitchen. The player will then leave the balcony, taking an exclusive trip to the attic. After sneaking past the guards upstairs, the player will come across an open window, which will allow Agent 47 to shimmy over to the lighting rig hanging from above the fashion show. The brilliant design of the enemy placement is specific, as the player will need to take out the guards watching from either side of the rig in the attic to avoid detection before exiting the window. After making their way onto the rig, the player will proceed to the end of the rig and shimmy their way into a discreet room, which is the same meeting room that Dahlia goes to meet with Helmut Kruger. Climbing up and through the window allows the player a unique kill opportunity. Either kill or knock out the guard within the room and remove the body from sight. Dahlia herself at this point should be inside the bathroom throwing up from consuming the rat poison Agent 47 laced in her drink earlier. This in fact is the perfect opportunity to kill Dahlia, upon which afterward the player should hide her body within the bathroom. From here, the player will exit the room from the same way they entered, making their way back to the attic on the other side. Proceed back downstairs to set up the second assassination with Viktor Novikov. Backstage on the first floor, Novikov's head designer, Sebastian Sato, who suffers from random emotional breakdowns, sets up for the player an opportunity to excise him from the picture. The best place to hide Sebastian is in the corner, in a vacant room backstage. With Sebastian gone, the player will proceed back upstairs to the attic and back onto the lighting rig by extension. The player, who should have picked up a crowbar from earlier in the level, now has the best chance to take out Viktor, in what is this particular level's best assassination method. And now begins the wait. And you will wait, and wait, and wait, and wait some more, until Viktor takes the stage to conduct his speech. As the stage lights up from below, all the player has to do now is execute the final step. Using the crowbar, the player will break the winch, which is the only thing that's holding up the lighting rig above Viktor. And what happens next is an unforgettable experience.
He said to be friends.
The game then cuts to the character hilariously being crushed by his own stage lights. Panic once again erupts from below as the NPCs start to clear the area. With the assignment complete, Agent 47 can now freely make his way back to the ground floor and exit the level anywhere the stage will allow. The brilliance about the Showstopper is in the execution of opportunity, but even further is the emphasis on planning. The level remains sharp thanks to the intention of forcing the player to learn through trial and error until they find a means to achieving the perfect kill. The mentality of the design holds steadfast to learning the behavior, starting places and identities of the NPCs, especially the random NPCs, and taking advantage of utilizing any identity to create windows that make the targets vulnerable. This is Masterclass level design, and so concludes the first episode. Next time I will be revisiting a cult classic from 2013, taking a look at one of the levels from Naughty Dog's masterpiece, The Last of Us, which will cover a level late in that particular game. Until then, I'm signing off.
I'm alright! Are you okay?